Hey, this is Michael Rubin, and we've been talking about Slim Harpo's Baby Scratch My Back. We're moving kind of slow, uh, but um, just so you know, I'm working on a Mac that is relatively new to me, and I'm dealing with audio troubles where sporadically there is a windy sound when I make videos, and also when I'm working on Skype. So I don't know what's going on, but if any of you have suggestions, great. And we're going to see if we can make the video right now that we need to make. So far we've come up with this lick. And what I want to talk to you about is a musical concept that's been going on a long time, and it's kind of defined the way that music has been played. This one argument. Let's say you had a keyboard and you played chromatically, one note at a time. You never skipped a note. That would be a very linear way of playing, moving in a straight line. Another word that people use to define that concept is horizontal playing. Now let's say you had a C major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Well, that's not exactly a straight line, because as I move from C to D, I skipped over C sharp. But it's horizontal in terms of the construct of the scale. So if I were to play licks that, let's say I were on C, I could descend to B or ascend to D. If I were on D, I could descend to C or ascend to E. Basically, just going to the next note in the scale. That would be called playing horizontally. Now, a C major chord are the first three notes on a C harmonica, C, E, G. When you play it on a keyboard, there's kind of a skipping motion going on. C, skip over D to E, skip over to F to G. You're really skipping from C over C sharp over D sharp to E. But in terms of the C major scale, you're skipping over every other scale tone. So C skips over D to E, skips over F to G. If we were to look at it this way, it's almost like climbing a ladder. C, E, G. Since it's kind of ladderish, if you focus on playing with chord tones, jumping from C to E, or from E to G, or even from C to G, that's called playing vertically. And even if you're going from a note in the scale to another note in the scale, but those two, like let's say the second note wasn't in the C major chord, let's say you went from C to F, but you're still skipping over D and E, that's called playing vertically as well. Basically, playing vertically means skipping scale tones. So, if you look at the history of music, and especially in the big jazz players, that's like the argument that's been going on forever. The early guys were playing all chord tones. They would fill in some in-between notes, but they were focusing on moving between chord tones. They were playing vertically. Then along comes, let's say, Miles Davis, and he decides to focus on the scale and play more linearly. He was playing horizontally. Then the next guy comes along and he says, no, vertically is right. And it just goes back and forth. Well, whoever are the leading musicians of the time have tremendous influence on how the rest of the musicians think and play. And so there's like whole sections of musical history where people are focusing vertically and focusing horizontally. Well, Slim Harpo is playing notes from the blues scale. Every note in that lick is a note in the cross-harp blues scale. When he starts playing, he moves horizontally. 4 bend moves to 4 draw, moves to 4 bend, to 4 blow, to 3 single bend. Now there's a note in between 4 blow and 3 single bend. 3 draw is in between those two notes. However, 3 draw is not in the blues scale. When you descend in the blues scale, you go directly from 4 blow to 3 single bend. So that entire beginning of the line is horizontal. But then he goes from 3 single to 1 draw. If we were to play the blues scale descending from 3 single, there's 2 notes in between 3 single and 1 draw. 3 single would go down to 2 draw, to 2 double bend, and then to 1 draw. By skipping from 3 single to 1 draw, Slim Harpo is playing vertically. Then he goes from 1 draw to 2 draw. If we were to play linearly with the blues scale, we would also have to play 2 double. By skipping 2 double, Slim Harpo is playing vertically. Now I don't think Slim Harpo is thinking to himself, I want to play horizontally or I want to play vertically. And I don't think you should spend too much time thinking about it either. But I do think you should take a good hard look at your playing and say to yourself, am I playing too horizontally? Because if it starts sounding like this, that's very linear, very horizontal. So you may want to throw in a little bit of this. A little bit of jumping. So that's something I want you to start thinking about. All right. I will see you soon. We'll get to the next lick, I promise.